Okay, it's another list. I don't know why the lists are getting better and better, but they are. It's a list, but it's fun. And it's a list that's not just a decent debate. I mean, if you feel like getting football nerdy with me, we can do the debate thing. It's not going to be difficult. I think it's kind of cool. But the list is interesting because some of the franchises have been getting it right at quarterback for a long time. And the names are obvious, but it's also obvious that some organizations just get it. And then there are teams that can't and haven't been able to get it right at quarterback for a long time. There's that part. That's interesting by itself. What makes it even more entertaining, to me at least, is some of the names included. Now, feel free to agree or disagree, but here's the best part. Two things to keep in mind, and you can just start throwing out names. If it were a drinking game, I don't know what would happen to you. Imagine some of these guys that are on the list being under center now in the NFL, because there was a time, now not that many of them, but there was a time when quarterbacks were fat and they smoked. Some of those dudes are on the list. Then here's a challenge. I will offer up this challenge directly from me to you. I don't think you're going to win, but you can play. This list is the most famous group. Okay, these are the biggest names over time and rankings of quarterbacks and all that stuff. But for each team, this is what I do. But for each team, throw out an obscure starter. Likely a bad one, but it doesn't matter. It's an obscure starter. I mean, names, see, when I was reading through this list of about 11 minutes ago, I can't help but start spitting out names, obscure names. And I'm pretty certain I'm going to beat you at that name association game. I don't think you have much of a chance. But throw out, there's a total separate category of obscure starters. If you beat me, and I don't know how we judge, you win cash and prizes as always. As those that have played along in games in the past, you know you're wealthy because of the cash and prizes. Okay, so here's what happened. CBS Sports did this. It's the all-time quarterback history of all 32 NFL teams. I know it sounds mind-numbing. Hang in there. Ranking them from least to most impressive using the following criteria. Remember, the word criteria is going to be obscure. Here's the criteria they used. Individual impact of top quarterbacks. That's MVPs, Pro Bowls, All-Pros, etc. Longevity of top quarterbacks' careers. Then team success and championships won. Then overall depth of teams' history of quarterbacks. Got it? Oh, Jeff, 32? Yeah, hang in there. Remember, part of it is the drinking game that you have to beat me at spitting out obscure names. Start with number 32, and I've already been out of shape. Number 32 is not fair. It's not accurate. I'm tired of people doing this. Warren Moon is, in my opinion, I've mentioned this many times, Warren Moon is one of the more underappreciated football talents, quarterback talents that I can remember. Okay? He didn't play for can we be clear about something? He didn't play for the Tennessee Titans. Okay? I don't know why people keep pretending this. He didn't. He should be included on the Texans list, but he's not, so they're ranked number 32. They have the worst history of quarterbacks in the NFL, which is unfair for a couple of reasons. One, they're the newest franchise, sort of. But most of us know they're not that new of a franchise because they were once the Oilers. For some reason, the rest of America doesn't see it that way. And number two, they've had a lot of bad quarterbacks. They're number 32. Top quarterbacks, Matt Schaub, C.J. Stroud, Deshaun Watson. I add Warren Moon, and they would no longer be number 32. Obscure name, go. David Carr. Next up is the Arizona Cardinals, Kurt Warner, Carson Palmer, and Jim Hart. Jim Hart was fat. I don't know if he smoked, but he was fat. Obscure quarterback, go. I'll go Neil Lomax. You're not going to beat me at that. When it just comes to dropping football names, you're not going to beat me. Jacksonville is number 30. Their quarterbacks, Remember, these are legacies of quarterbacks. Mark Brunell, David Gerard, Trevor Lawrence. Okay. Jacksonville should be dead last on this list, but they're not. Obscure name, go. Blaine Gabbert. 29 is Carolina. The Cam Newton, Jake Delhomme. What is Jake Delhomme famous for? He played in a Super Bowl of which you believe that you saw Janet Jackson's nipple. Kerry Collins. Obscure name, go. Steve Berline. 28 Chicago Bears. The top quarterbacks of all time would be Sid Luckman, Jim McMahon, Jay Cutler. I don't know why Jay Cutler. That doesn't seem right to me, but obscure name, go. I'll do it. Vince Evans. I'd also say Doug Flutie. 27, the New York Jets, Joe Namath, Ken O'Brien, Chad Pennington. That's an awful legacy. Obscure starter, go. Vinny Testaverde. Cleveland Browns, oh no, it's all terrible. Otto Graham, Bernie Kosar, Brian Sipe. Who coached Brian Sipe? Sam Rutigliano. It's a pretty awful legacy. Johnny Manziel did not name this. You know what would be a drinking game all by itself? All by itself. And that would be, you would have to name, and you could do it in order, name the worst quarterbacks drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Turn that into a drinking game when you don't have a date or a significant other. I'll go. It's easy. And yeah, Johnny Manziel's on that list. Eric Crouch is also on that list. Obscure Cleveland Browns starter. Vinny Testaverde. Yeah. Wait, Jeff, did you mention Vinny Testaverde? I did, with the Jets. Did you mention him with the Browns? I did. I can name him as a starter on 5 other teams as well. He played more than 20 years, and people don't even know it. The Detroit Lions are number 25 in quarterback legacy. Bobby Lane, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Scott Mitchell with a giant head. Obscure starter. Andre Ware, I believe, was the 3rd pick in the draft. Number 24 is the Minnesota Vikings. Fran Tarkenton, Dante Culpepper, Tommy Kramer. That's a really good group. Name the obscure Viking starter. Go. Easy. Wade Wilson. Number 23, Seattle Seahawks. Quarterback legacy includes Russell Wilson. Will he be a Hall of Famer? I don't know. I'm thinking probably not. I don't know. Seattle, Russell Wilson, Dave Craig, Matt Hasselbeck, and the great Jim Zorn. Quickly, name the obscure quarterback. Go. 6'8", Dan McGuire. You're not going to beat me at obscure names. You're never going to beat me. I can do it all day, every day. Atlanta Falcons at number 22. It's a really good group. Better than you think. They are Matt Ryan, who I think goes in the Hall of Fame one day. I do. Put up ridiculously good numbers, is a Tom Brady comeback away from winning a Super Bowl. The Falcons group includes Matt Ryan, Michael Vick, who I argue, even though he was a dog killer, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Matt Ryan, Michael Vick, Steve Bartkowski. Quickly, name the obscure Falcons starter. Chris Miller. Played at Oregon. He was a teammate of mine. That was easy. Number 21 is the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson, Steve McNair. That's a great group. Remember, people forget Joe Flacco and that Super Bowl run they had was, and they got beat, but he was out of this world. Remember, he broke, I think he broke a Montana record for touchdown passes without interception. It's really a good group. Quickly, name the obscure starter for the Baltimore Ravens. Easy. One, you could say Vinny Testaverde on just about every team, and you'd get it right. Vinny Testaverde. But I would add Elvis Gerbach. Number 20, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're helped slightly by somebody named Tom Brady. They're number 20 in quarterback legacies. Tom Brady, Baker Mayfield, who's just been out of this world, Brad Johnson. Pretty good. Quickly, name the obscure Buccaneers quarterback. Go. Steve DeBerg. Saints, number 19, Archie Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Brooks. I think that's a stretch. Quickly, name that obscure Saints quarterback. Bobby Hebert. There. Then they get really, really good. So 18 is the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a great group of quarterbacks. I think Philadelphia should be ranked higher. Now, remember, they're taking a look at the legacies of quarterbacks in the franchise. That included Donovan McNabb, Ron Jaworski, Randall Cunningham. That's a name people forget. Remember how great he was. And then Jalen Hurts. They should be rated a lot higher, in my opinion. It's a great group. Quickly, name the obscure Eagles starter. There's a bunch of them. I'll go Ty Detmer. Bengals, really good group. Number 17, Ken Anderson, Boomer Esiason, Joe Burrow, Carson Palmer. That's a great group. Obscure starter, hint, University of Houston, draft pick. Out of this world college player, David Klingler. Buffalo Bills. Great group, except I know nothing about Jack Kemp, except he was in office for quite a long time. Jim Kelly, Josh Allen, Jack Kemp. Obscure starter, sorry, Oilers fans, Frank Reich. You could also say Doug Flutie. Chargers, Dan Fouts, Phillip Rivers, John Hadel. Don't know anything. I suspect he might be fat, and he might have smoked. And Justin Herbert. Obscure Chargers starter, Stan Humphries. Number 14, Tennessee Titans. It's a trick. It's a lie. It's not true. You're the Tennessee Titans. You're not the Oilers, but you pretend you're the Oilers, and so I guess we'll play along. They include George Blanda, who started for the Oilers for a long time. Steve McNair. Warren Moon. You do know Warren Moon didn't play for Tennessee. He played for the Oilers, who were in Houston. But if we're going to play the game, then obscure Oilers starter. Those are fun. I'll go Cody Carlson on you. New York Giants, number 13, Eli Manning, Phil Simms, Charlie Connerly, whoever that is, and Y.A. Tittle. Obscure starter for the Giants. There's a lot of those. I'll go Kerry Collins. Had kind of a good run. Washington, Commanders / Redskins. Sammy Baugh, believe fat and did smoke. Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, Sonny Jurgensen, very fat and smoked a lot, and the guy with another giant bucket head, Mark Rippon. That's a good group. Okay, obscure quarterback for Redskins / Commanders. Heath Shuler. Probably still runs. Is he in the office somewhere? I thought he ran for office. Played at Tennessee, then he ran for office, ran for Congress, I think. I think he won. Number 11 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Lynn Dawson, fat and smoked, and Trent Green. Obscure starter for the Chiefs. Not even that obscure. Todd Blackledge, first-round pick. They passed on Dan Marino for Todd Blackledge. The Dolphins, number 10, Dan Marino, Bob Greasy, Brandon's favorite, Earl Morrall. Dolphins obscure. I can do a lot of Dolphins obscure quarterbacks. What's his name? Fitzpatrick is one, and all that. I'll tell you one, though. Obscure Dolphins quarterbacks. Remember, they had this period post Dan Marino where just nothing worked right. Jay Fiedler. Patriots, number 9. Tom Brady, duh. Drew Bledsoe, duh. They include Steve Grogan. Remember, I don't know if this is a fact, but here's an obscure piece of information. Remember that season, like half the season, Steve Grogan played with a neck roll? Most of you don't even know what a neck roll is. There was a time when practically everybody, outside of a few positions, wore these things that would connect to your shoulder pads. And they were small pads. They had kind of a cool look to them. But their quarterback wore one, Steve Grogan, and he had this giant neck. Really hot, not a big neck, like a long neck. Okay. I don't even think that obscure, but I don't know why they didn't list him. He took him to a Super Bowl. One obscure would be Doug Flutie. That'd be obscure. The other would be Bo Eason, who took them to a Super Bowl, and they got demolished by the Bears. The Patriots are 9. The Raiders are 8. Stabler, Darryl LaMonica, Rich Gannon, Jim Plunkett. That's a great group. Obscure. I mean, obscure of obscures. You ready? Todd Marinovich. 7 is the Rams. It's a great list. Kurt Warner, Norm Van Brocklin, remember him. Roman Gabriel, remember him. Matthew Stafford, yes, no doubt. He's all are Hall of Famers. Obscure quarterback. Obscure Rams. Oh, wait a second. What am I doing here? Obviously. And was pretty good player. Vince Ferragamo. 6, the Steelers. Terry Bradshaw, Ben Roethlisberger, Neil O'Donnell. I don't know. I mean, Neil O'Donnell was not very good. He took him to a Super Bowl and made Dallas cornerback Larry Brown rich because he had 3 picks. Bobby Lane. Obscure Steelers quarterback. Charlie Batch. Broncos, Elway, Peyton Manning, Craig Morton. Obscure, not obscure. What's the tall guy? Something Lynch. Paxton Lynch. Remember him? They moved up in the draft to take him. But I'll say obscure would be Tim Tebow. People forget that Tim Tebow not only played for the Broncos, they drafted him in the first round. They won a playoff game with him, and then the rest was, a dumpster fire. The Cowboys are number 4. And you can do a lot with this. You can rank these, which I think is a drinking game by itself. The Cowboys' legacy includes Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman. Roger Staubach is one of those guys, if you took him from his prime in the 70s, I guess maybe mid-70s, and you stuck him in the NFL today, I think he'd still be a star. I do. He is, I'm trying to think of a player that, Josh Allen is more John Elway than Roger Staubach. Great athlete, huge arm, could run like crazy. He'd be a star today. I think he'd be an even better quarterback in the game today. Roger Staubach, Aikman, Meredith, Dak Prescott they include on this list. Go ahead and hiss. Tony Romo, and the guy everyone forgets, Danny White. Rank those. I'll do it. Aikman 1, Staubach 2, although I think Staubach was an overall greater talent. You'll hate me for this. Prescott 3. Danny White 4, and Tony Romo last. I know Tony Romo put up some good stats. I know. Obscure Cowboy starter. You can do an hour of these. Clint Longley, Quincy Carter. How long do you want to go? Number 3 is the Colts. Their legacy includes Peyton Manning, Johnny Unitas, Andrew Luck, and Burt Jones. Remember Burt Jones? Was really that's a really good group. Their obscure quarterback is Jeff George. Played at Illinois, and wasn't he drafted in the top 3 or something like that? One of the best prospects of all time. Number 2 is the San Francisco 49ers. Their legacy of quarterbacks, this one's great, easy. Montana, Steve Young, Y.A. Tittle, John Brody. Don't know anything except him as a broadcaster. Obscure 49ers starter. Jeff Garcia. I'll go there. He had a good run. Number 1 is the Green Bay Packers. Here's the thing about the Packers. If you listen to these names, they've not just been great quarterbacks that are future Hall of Famers or current Hall of Famers. They were the quarterbacks for a long time. They don't really have much turnover. They just move from one legend to the next, and they're all quarterbacks for many, many years. That list for the Packers, who's rated number 1, that list for the Packers includes Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Bart Starr, obviously. Jordan Love will be there. They're obscure, though. The Packers have had some weird starters. I played an all-star game with this guy. That's why it comes to mind. And he had kind of some success with Green Bay. Their obscure starter, and there's no way if I gave you a month and a half, you couldn't come up with this name unless you cheated. Don Magic Man Mikowski. There. I win, you lose. Brandon's a Seattle fan, and he couldn't even come up with Dan McGuire.
I couldn't remember his first name. I was thinking McGuire.
What, he's 6'8" or something like that?
Yeah, he's Mark
crazy.
McGuire's brother.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It's like that, I'm telling you, you can turn this into a drinking game all by yourself. That's the way I do it.
Hey, Austin, Jeff Ward here, and I never thought I'd be in an accident and need a personal injury attorney.
And then sure enough, less than a mile from my house, I was blindsided. I was injured. My world was turned completely upside down. I called DJC Law and their team took care of everything. I got the best result possible. Don't just take my word for it. They have over 1,000 five-star reviews. So if you're injured, call 512-888-9999 and get your justice at teamjustice.com.